Lock my stitches. Lock my stitches. Now I can save that for other areas of the quilt. This is just to kind of press that fabric down, give it that faux. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I've rolled the quilt and now we're on the actual panel. I'm going to go ahead, ditch around the outside, ditch around the inside. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to ditch around all of the geese and the birds and the mountains and start with that, and then we'll go from there. Got my stitches locked. Back to the invisible thread. Now what I'm going to do as I come around and then head up this side over here is when I get up to the top, I'm actually going to cut thread and then go back to the top and work my way across from right to left, just because that invisible thread is so thin. I don't want to take the chance of any skip stitches. For a regular thread, I wouldn't worry about it so much because we have our machines timed perfect. But because we're dealing with hair thin thread, I'm going to go ahead and since it's such a long way across, once I get to the top, I'll cut and go over and work the opposite way. Okay. Over, back, lock. There we go. Pull my thread. On the ANOVAs, I find if I give it a little bit of a tug before I pull away, I'm not going to get any breakage. Now I'll move over, snip my tails, lock, and ditch. Repeat that on the inside of that sash. And then I'll move into the geese. So now I'm going to quilt, or ditch, I should say, this section. Just going to follow those curves. Now before I go back and go up, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go ahead and grab that little spot. A few things will be retraveled as I move through. Okay. Now as I come up and do the roof of the outhouse, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay inside the applique because I noticed that she kind of went inside a ways with her stabilizing stitch. That way it won't flop up after washing. And again, this is that tedious work where you're going to put on a good book on tape and just kind of, or good music, and just keep moving through the process. Nail that down. Use the little mini to keep me stable. I think Rich laughed when I said keep me stable. Again, I'm following her stitching, which is inside the applique, just to keep that applique fairly stable. Do around those trees. My head's in there, I'm sorry. Again, this is not show quality, so I'm not going for show quality. Show quality, it would take me probably about 5 times as long. You know, this is the time when I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my small square and use my little notch in the middle there, and I think that'll help me see. There we go. That's better visual. Sometimes it's just about getting the right tool for the job. When we had this made, we only were going to do these two, and I thought, you know, there might be times when I've got to go into an area and have it like this so that I could see exactly where I'm going. I think I'll work this way. Because I just glanced down and saw that I could head over and do this section and get these trees done. That green is so close to that purple, it is hard to see. Okay, so now with this black section here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch. The first thing, just so you can kind of see, even though you can't see, I'm going to square off this corner because there's about 1.5 inches of pieced sash around here in that black. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go 3/4 out and I'm going to make a sew line, 3/4, and then of course there's also going to be a sew line right on the seam line, which is 1/2 inch there, so you can see that. So there's going to be 2 narrow channels there. I'm going to do the same thing up above, 3/4 inch, and I'm airing to the green seam. And then of course then the second portion, if we can get a tight shot in here, is where that piecing is, 1/2 inch away where this starts. You can see that there's a sash right here. So I'm also going to, there's a little gypsy. Hey gypsy. I'm also going to do another straight line right on that ditch, so that way we have that wonderful frame around. If I left it 1.25 inches, what I'm afraid of is that it would buckle over time and get some wrinkles and distortion if they're going to hang it up. even though there is double bat here. Now, around this little guy right here, I am also going to ditch, since it's going to be a 1/2 inch up here, I'm also going to go ahead and do a 1/2 inch around this block. As an extra frame. Now I'm just going to kind of give you the lowdown of what I'm going to do before I start quilting it. The next thing I'm going to do is, let me get that a little better. Down here, I'm going to go ahead and ditch this, and I'm going to take that all the way over to the left. Awesome. To here. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do another 1/2 inch up above here. So I'm going to ditch this, and then I'm going to do another 1/2 inch because I want to frame these beautiful pieces in this quilt. Again, we're going to air to the seam all the way down. Now when that's done, the next thing I'm going to do in this section right here, all the way over, including this little section here, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do 45-degree lines down through it. Now, when I finish my 45 degrees going this way, all the way over to the other side, including over here, what I'll do, over here, what I'll do at that point is I'll make a decision. Do I want to actually do crosshatch, or do I just want 145 degree? And I will look at that and make that decision after I finish that part. And then also, of course, I'm going to ditch around the fish. Okay. And I might come back when the quilt is done and put a little bit of texture inside the fish. I'm not sure, maybe give it some gills, just some nice curves. But I'm going to look at fish pictures because I can't remember whether the curves go towards the butt or towards the mouth. So I'll figure that out and then make that decision then.